And so what's happening in their day as well as our day is something called deconstructionism. It's a philosophical term. And again, this is my introduction. Some of you are like, this is a weird sermon. No, the weird sermon is coming. This is the introduction to the weird. This is the weird introduction to the weird sermon. So what happens is, how do we remove the Bible? How do we remove the church? How do we remove Christianity? Well, we need to deconstruct it. And there are two basic ideologies that have driven human history. One is called traditional theory. The other is called critical theory. Traditional theory is, how do you build a church, a marriage, a family, a culture, an economy? Deconstruction is, we see that it has failures and faults and flaws because it was architected by people who are fallen and flawed and sinful. Therefore, we will dismantle, we will deconstruct, and that's what we're seeing in our day. We've deconstructed gender, we've deconstructed family, we've deconstructed marriage, we've deconstructed law enforcement, we've deconstructed the Bible, we're deconstructing Christianity. Everything seems like it is just in demolition mode. And I'll give you a free book. I've written on this, and I can't get into all of it today, but it's Christian Theology versus Critical Theory. And I'll give you a free copy, and I try to explain all of this. And I want you to read it if you want to be a nerd and spend a little time with me. So just one other thing, maybe. How about four other things? Before I get into Jude. Number one, change is not always progress. This is one of the lies of the progressive myth, that if we get further from the past, things will get better in the future. How many of you have tried something, you've changed something, and it got worse, not better? So the myth is today that new is improved. It's like, well, we have a new version of Christianity. We have new interpretations of the Bible. We have new things that God is saying. New is not always improved. And just because something is changed doesn't mean it's better. Number two, how many of you are younger? How many of you are in your teens, 20s, okay? You are lab rats for a generation of false prophets. You are lab rats for a generation of false prophets. They have fed you from birth the lie that you are good and getting better, and that change is progress. And what you are part of, because this is the only life you've lived, and some of us have lived a little while longer, it's like, well, what happens if we just have a child looking at a screen from the crib for the rest of their life? Like, I don't know, let's see. Well, what happens if we expose them to pornography at a very young age? I don't know, let's see. Well, what if we sexually confuse them and cause lots of gender confusion? What's gonna happen? I don't know, well, let's see. Well, what if we give them, puberty blockers or surgery or hormones? What happens to their developing body? I don't know, let's see. Well, what happens if we legalize or decriminalize drugs? I don't know, let's see. It's not going well for you because you are a lab rat for a generation of false prophets. And a false prophet is one who says something will happen and it doesn't. You're gonna get better. Things are gonna get stronger. The culture is gonna get healthier and your mental health will improve. False prophets. Number three, how many of you are creatives? I can tell, right? You have tattoos, you have colored glasses, you wear cool clothing. You notice I wear all black because it's dangerous to do anything. I'm not that creative. Some of you are very creative. We can tell, right? Your hair's colored, your glasses are colored. You're cool. Like we want to hang out with you. You're cool. And let me say this, it's fine to be creative with your wardrobe. It's fine to be creative with the interior design. It's fine to be creative with your personal style, but not with your Christian convictions. Okay? You can find creative new ways to express old truths, but you don't create truths that are new because the truths are eternal. And what we're seeing is this woke, aggressive, apostate generation is largely being driven by artists, musicians, and creatives. And they're getting creative with the Bible and their gender and the church and Jesus in ways that they should not.
Thanks for joining me. My name is Pastor Mark. I've been teaching the Bible for more than 3 decades and head on constant collisions with woke culture. And I would love to get you more Bible teaching. 2 things you can do. Go ahead and watch the sermon in total and also subscribe to the channel. And I'll just keep sending you Bible teaching and we'll have a lot more fun together.